Hey, this is Dr. Amanda with Inner Power Daily. And if you really want to learn how to level up your life, you should be listening to the Time to Shine Today podcast with my good friend, Scott Ferguson. Let's level up.
Time to Shine Today podcast varsity squad. This is Scott Ferguson. We're at episode 391 with my good friend and fellow coach, Dr. Amanda. She's all about the NFA, the no effing around. My conversation with her, we had a blast. She's like a sister from a different Mista. We just really click, and our coaching kind of runs side by side, but she has things that she laid out and knowledge nuggets that I picked up that immediately helped my coaching business. And I know that she will help you level up as well. She's all about taking radical responsibility. Her protocol for Inner Power is, which I'll let you listen for that, is a 3-step process. Just fantastic. I mean, I have notes upon notes. So if you don't mind, if you know somebody that really needs to level up their life, get their mindset right, please share this with them because they might need to hear it. Or if you can just like it or subscribe and all that other stuff, it kind of helps my sponsors and affiliates. So sit back, relax, break out your notebooks because here comes my really good friend, Dr. Amanda from Inner Power. Let's level up. Time to Shine Today podcast varsity squad. This is Scott Ferguson, and I'm super stoked to bring on my no effing around Dr. Amanda Barrientez. That's the last time I'm going to say her last name. From now on, it's going to be Dr. Amanda, and she is known as the Mindset Healer. She's the founder of Inner Power Daily, an international best-selling author, and the host of the top 2% globally rated podcast called Inner Power Entrepreneur. After going from food stamps to building a 6-figure business fast, she has been on a quest to teach entrepreneurs and business professionals science-based strategies to reprogram their energy, mindset, and habits so they can get what they want in life and business. Her superpower is helping you get unstuck, get aligned, and get what you want by tapping into your inner power. And everything will be in the show notes, but you want to stay here right now to get the knowledge nuggets that my good friend Dr. Amanda is going to drop. Amanda, thank you so much for coming on. Please introduce yourself to the Time to Shine Today podcast varsity squad. But first, what's your favorite color and why?
Ooh, I would say red. Red because it's power. It's power color. Red and black.
Red and black? Johnny Walker, black and red.
I wear so much black. I had friends call me, they're like, oh, you're like the female Johnny Cash.
Johnny Cash. I love it. I love it. So let's take it back a little bit, to the food stamps and maybe how you were programmed when you were younger and your self-talk a little bit of what was going on there. And then how we're getting up right now to leveling up the masses.
Yeah. I always like to start by asking everybody in terms of mindset questions and money and something, money is one of those things we think about a million times a day. So for everyone listening, just stop what you're doing and think, how many times have you already thought about money today? Unconsciously, right? You're not conscious that you're thinking about, but we think about money all the time. And our wealth is really an outer reflection of our inner world. So the way we feel about money, the way we make money, the way we spend money and budget and manage money has a lot to do with the way we feel inside. So fears and imposter syndrome and procrastination and money blocks from our history, could be even intergenerational history, are things that keep you stuck and not getting exactly where you want to go. So for me, the journey started when I was on the floor crying one night. So here I am, I'm on the basement floor, empty basement because my boyfriend had just moved out. Previously, I had left my 15-year marriage having an affair. So I'm very broken in relationships, struggling a lot. He's moved out. I spent the day on Craigslist looking for places to live that I couldn't afford. 3 kids in grad school, already working 2 jobs and on food stamps. And I was like, oh my God, I'm terrified. What am I going to do? I don't know where I'm going to live. And I was crying and feeling very sorry for myself and very scared. And I had this moment where I was kind of scanning my life history. And I was thinking, I was kind of looking for someone to blame. I was like, whose fault is this? And I realized, oh, I'm in every single scene of my life. It's me. Like I am the common denominator. And I sat up and I had this thought and it just, dropped into my mind. Like, I'm willing to do whatever it takes to have better relationships and more money. I am tired of this. Like, I am not willing to do this anymore. And so I made this declaration to myself. I wouldn't have called it a declaration at the time, but that's really what it was. It was like, I'm willing to do whatever it takes. And I didn't know where it was going to lead me. But interestingly, because I was so busy, it led me to listening to podcasts. because, I needed free information on the go. And so I would listen to them on double speed on my way to school, in between teaching, taking my kids to school, washing the dishes, like nonstop. And they started to change me in the way that I was thinking. And during this time, my department where I was earning my PhD had this departmental fallout, like professors leaving, people were stressed. And I was like, oh my God, I don't want to be a professor anymore. And I'd been on track for this for a long time. And so I thought, well, I love teaching. That was my favorite part of academia. And I thought, well, what if I become a coach like the coaches on those podcasts and just see what happens? Sure. And so when I graduated, I took the leap. And in that first year, I went 6 figures. And I've learned so much since. And I started a podcast because I thought, these podcasts contributed so much to me that I want to start a podcast too and share my gifts with the world and share people's knowledge and experiences and stories and wisdom and let people shine through a podcast.
I love it. So you listen to the podcast, you kind of made the common denominator that you're the problem, you're your own problem. I love that you said, you show up in every single scene of your life. What was really kind of the first step you took to really, like, I understand you took the mental step. What was the first step you took to really starting your coaching business? And the follow-up to that is, like, how much of an imposter did you feel, kind of being broke, starting to tell people how they should think?
Yeah. I love that you say the mental step, because I always tell people it's decide, commit, take, NFA, no effing around action, right? I don't know if I can swear, no fucking around action.
Okay. Got it.
Right. So that's always my mantra: decide, commit, take NFA action, decide, commit, take NFA action. And notice it's the action part, right? And what I always tell people when you're struggling with imposter syndrome is you just take the first step. You don't need to know step A to Z. You just know A to B. So for me, what that looked like is when I made that decision, I was like, okay, I don't know how to build a business. I've never done this kind of thing before. I don't know how to coach exactly, but I do know that I care a lot and I'm learning, and the things that I'm learning are starting to work. So as long as I'm one step ahead of the people I'm talking to, that's all I need to be. Right. And so I really, before that time period, I struggled with imposter syndrome big time in academia. It was like, I felt so stupid my whole life, which come to realize it's why I wanted to earn a PhD. This was all unconscious, but it was like, I want to prove that I'm smart. Day I got my dissertation defended and got that PhD, I didn't feel any smarter. Right. So I realized, like, it's all up here. It's all within. So, my philosophy is your outer world is a reflection of your inner world. If you don't like what you're getting on the outside, change what's within. And so a lot of it has been tons of personal growth and development, really spending every single day empowering yourself. And that's why my company is called Inner Power Daily, right? It's a choice to choose inner power daily and to do what it takes to align your mindset and then take strategic action that's in alignment with your mindset. So this has led me to, helping people unblock fear, unblock their limiting beliefs, unblock their subconscious programming that's told them that they're not good enough, they don't know what they're doing, or that if you're hugely successful, it's scary, right? So you could be at any level of the success spectrum and still struggle with these things, which was so mind-blowing to me. Like, I started hanging out with richer people, wealthier people who I always had this conceptualization in my mind that they were like unicorns of happiness.
Sure.
Like, if you're rich, everything's awesome. And then I started hanging out with wealthy people and I was like, oh, they all struggle with the same things. And like, we're human beings. And so it was really interesting for me to start minimizing my imposter syndrome by connecting with more people who I had this perception that they knew it all and had it all figured out. And then I realized, oh, we're all on the game of life. And some people don't know that there are solutions to it. And as I started to learn and grow, I was like, oh, there are rules to the game of life and you can win if you learn these rules.
Exactly. Yeah. You've mentioned a lot in your shows and your podcasts, which I thoroughly enjoy, that, their zone of genius. And you find out that each one of them has a different yet common zone of genius that really gets them to that success level. And Squad, I don't know if you heard her, but, she said, decide, commit, and take, fucking action, and basically, or no fucking around, action. And, that goes back, and she said to just take that first bite, like we coach here at Time to Shine Today, inch by inch, it's a cinch, right? By the yard, it's hard. If you bite off too much, then you'll get lost. But just like Dr. Amanda said, let's go inch by inch, let's just keep going, keep moving forward. And Doc, what is then Because you've mentioned it a lot. You're the scene of your life and whatnot. What is your definition of responsibility?
I love that question. It takes 100% radical responsibility for you to get what you want. And what that is owning all parts of yourself and seeing that you are a co-creator of everything that's happening in your life.
That's
So
amazing.
we tend to want to blame other people for our experiences, or even to blame the environment. We could blame our childhood. We could blame our past. When you take 100% radical responsibility, you go, hey, I'm the one who's creating my life. There's no use in trying to change the past. There's no use in blaming people from the past. There's no use in blaming anyone in my current circumstances, because scientifically, the way, if you think about the law of attraction and quantum physics, we're all in a field of energy, and you're emitting a certain energy based on the way that you feel and believe, and you are attracting to you based on that. So it's impossible for you to get someone into your life without you contributing to that.
Right. You have to have the vibe to align with that, to have somebody even come in. I've lived that, as well. And I love that you said 100% radical responsibility, owning all parts of yourself that are co-creator and everything. You're the co-creator. And, I was kind of go with like responsibility is the ability to respond. But I love that you add, it's right rooted in the word, but I love that you add own all parts of yourself and that you're the co-creator. Man, I'm picking up so many knowledge, I guess. And I hope you are as well, squad, and taking some mad notes here. So do you ever coach people one-on-one, Doc?
I do.
Okay.
Yes.
So let's say you're in a discovery session or whatnot. What is your secret sauce, if you don't mind sharing, that is maybe help them during that first discussion, maybe locate and find that initial blind spot they're dealing with?
My initial strategy is so simple, and it's being very present and consciously listening to their words. Right. So to me, a great coach is someone who's present. I'm not worried about myself thinking, am I doing it right? What if I'm not good enough? What if I can't find the answer? I'm not doing any of that. I'm sitting there in a full state of presence, listening to what they're saying. And I'm funny. I type when people are talking to me, like I'm looking at them and I'm typing what they're saying, because those words, right? Those words mean so much.
Yeah.
And so when I hear people say patterned things, I'm like, hey, you just said this. Let's pick that apart.
Sure.
Did you? And most of the time they'll go like, did I say that? They're like, whoa,
Yeah.
and so it's really powerful to just be present with someone. And so the way I started my whole business, it was amazing. Actually, I had no website, no cards. I'd go to networking events. I'd get their card after I'd say something that triggered them to come talk to me. I'd get their card and I'd call them and I'd say, let's have a cup of coffee and chat. We'd have a powerful conversation. And at the end of the conversation, they'd be like, how can I work with you? And then at first I would literally make up a package on the fly. I'd be like, well, I offer this.
That's awesome you say that, because I think you and I would be terrible networking together, because we're more interested in other people's stories than we are about ourselves. So if I was to meet you, we would probably be asking questions of each other and trying to fire them off. Because my biggest compliment, Doc, is if I leave a networking event where I'm pressed and flush, meeting people, when I walk away, I want the biggest compliment I can get is the person say, what the hell does that guy do? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? They're like, and I am this guy that I have handwritten thank you notes in my car. I actually write it out. I grab their business card like you do, write it out, and I stick it in the mail before I would even walk into my, townhouse here. And then, I follow up and then, get that hour power if I'm able to offer it to them, the free complimentary hour power that I offer. I love it that you said you actually listen with all your senses. You're really tuning in. You're listening with your neck. We're really leaning in. I love that. So maybe we're still in the discovery period with a coaching client. Is there any good question that you wish they would ask you but never do?
That's a really interesting question. I haven't thought of it that way. I think the common theme for the people that I work with is that they don't know how to ask the right questions.
Right.
I think most people struggle with asking the right questions. And we all know when you ask the right questions, you can get answers to solve those questions. But if you can't even come up with the question, you don't know what to ask. Right. And this is a common issue. And so when you say that, I'm like, that's interesting, because I wish that they knew how to ask better questions, because it would help them get there more quickly. So it's my job to pull out of them the questions. Right. And so it's an interesting process. My theme on my podcast is know who you are, know what you want, know how to get there. Mm-hmm. And the reason that's the theme is because people don't even know what they want. They don't They don't know what they want. They don't know who they are. They don't know how to get there. Right. So, and when I say don't know who you are, they don't know their zone of genius. They know they're stuck and they're there, right? They're like, I'm stuck. I feel off. Something's not right. I know there's more. I know I could be living at a higher potential. I know my business could be succeeding more powerfully, but I don't understand why I'm stuck.
Right.
And so that's really the common theme. It's like, okay, I've tried everything. I have so many people come to me and be like, I've tried this, I've tried that, I've done this. You know, they've spent so much money and invested on themselves and trying to figure it out. And what they haven't invested on is this, their mindset, right?
Exactly.
And learning how to get unstuck from the emotions that are blocking them.
Right.
And when I say emotions, it's interesting because the way magnetism works is it attracts, you magnetize through your emotional state.
Right.
And most people think, oh, if I just change my mindset and I believe it, and I even, let's say, use an affirmation or something, that might work. The problem is that if you're affirming something that's not true, you're creating an emotional state of resistance, right?
Yes.
And it doesn't work. It actually pushes the thing away.
Makes you feel more of an imposter.
Totally.
It's funny. That's why, like, I have my clients, they have their affirmations. I ask them to write it, but then I have a little, project for them to say, okay, now every one of these affirmations, you're going to turn into a question. And I make them write it in a very powerful question because you have a doctorate in sociology. So, which about this, like our brains are programmed to be problem solvers. So if you're asking yourself that question over and over and over in a daily, it's going to not prove you wrong. You know what I'm saying? Say, I'm happy. I feel great. Be like, how is it that I wake up every morning feeling happy and great? And the brain's going, what the hell, dude? So I love that we think along the same lines. So
I love that.
Have you?
Yeah. Did you know my book? So my book is I Am a Money Magnet, the top 30 money-making affirm mantras to manifest more. And so it's this take on, just like you're saying with affirm mantras, you must say statements that are 100% true to your being, or you will create resistance, right? So it's wild that I love that what you're doing too. It's like, because you start asking a question. One of my very first episodes I ever did on my podcast was a mindset switch called How Can I? The How Can I mindset switch, the ultimate tool for transformation, And it's like that question, like, how could I wake up happy every day?
Right.
And then your brain starts to look for solutions for it instead of focusing. If you just say, I am happy every day, I am happy every day, I am happy, but you don't believe it, you're actually creating resistance and you're causing yourself to be unhappy.
100%, because it's the truth isn't there and the emotion is not tied to the truth. And that's the only difference is is that I just make him ask the questions if it's already happened. How is it that I am, which both ways work. I just love that they're questions this there. And I will be having a book giveaway, squad. So make sure you stick around to the end. So have you seen the movie Back to the Future, Doc?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, let's get in that DeLorean with Marty. Let's go back to the Double Deuce, the 22-year-old Dr. Amanda. I don't know if it was still Barrientez or what, but let's go back to the Double Deuce. And is there any knowledge that I guess you would drop on her? Not so much to change anything, because there's a learning process that you went through, but to maybe shorten the learning curve, level up or blast through, maybe just a little bit quicker?
Oh, man. So I got pregnant when I was 20 and dropped out of college because my husband, we ended up getting married. And so my ex-husband now, but we had met really young, and then I got pregnant, and we were both trying to go to school, and it was just super stressful. He was like, he had anxiety and he couldn't do school and kid. And so he's like, you got to drop out because I have the most potential to make money, which is wildly fascinating to think about money blocks and gender and how that gets recreated in life. Right. And so I dropped out, and, so I would go back. I had, at 22, I had a 2-year-old. So it's like, okay, I would go back and I would shower her with love first. It's like, and community. I would help her find a community, because at 20, when you live in the place that I lived, I was like an alien. Like, nobody has kids at that age in where I was in Boulder, Colorado. And so it was like, that I felt very isolated. So it's like, shower her with love and give her some books and a gross-minded group of people to hang out with. That would have changed everything for her. It's like, show her that she's powerful, help her learn her zone of genius, help her understand what makes her thrive. It's like the things that I teach people now. I mean, really, I think about when I was on the floor crying that night later in life. And a lot of times when I was a stay-at-home mom, I was suicidally depressed. Like it was hard for me. And I look at those times, and really the key thing is that I felt powerless. And that's why I focus on power for people, because whatever power means to you, what it means to me now is that I feel in control and in charge of my reality. I don't feel like I'm a victim of everything that's going on. I'm in charge of my reality. I have power. And when you feel powerless, it sucks. Yes. And so I would want to go back and offer her solutions to feeling her power and knowing she's powerful.
That's beautiful. And it's so fantastic that you are humble about it. You know what I'm saying? And that you say, you know, there's some things that I probably might have, you know, tweaked a little bit. I mean, obviously the love was there. You're a fantastic mother, but, you know, just some things you tweak. And thank you, you know, for being transparent on that, you know. How do you want your dash remembered? That little line in between your incarnation date and your expiration date, your life date and death date. Hopefully it's way down the road, but on your tombstone, how do you want your dash remembered?
A wild, incredible, heart-centered inspiration to people. Like inspiration, to be an inspiration. I love inspiring people. I love that when I get to hang out with someone, just like you said at networking events, like after we hang out, I want people to shine. I want people to feel better, you know, and I get that so much from when I talk to people. They're like, it feels good to be around you. Yes. And that is awesome. Like, I love inspiring people. And the reason I inspire them is because, like you're saying, you shine the light on them and you help them see parts of themselves and see how awesome they are. And that's what we all want, right? We want to feel meaningful and good about ourselves. And we want to be able to shine our lights in the world. And so it's like, anytime I can do that with people, that's what I want to be remembered for. You know, Amanda helped me shine my light.
And you're sliding across that metaphorical home plate, bumped and bruised. You know, you're leaving the world a lot better, man. You're planting trees you're never going to sit in the shade of, you know, because of the way you're feeling. This is just amazing. So what do you think people misunderstand the most about you?
Man, you're good. I love your questions. I think that sometimes I can show up very reserved and shy, or I think sometimes people read it as that I'm like maybe stuck up or something, because I can be really quiet. And it's mostly that I'm incredibly introverted. And when I'm in a it's wild. When I get into a situation where I'm the leader, I lead. When I get into a situation where I'm trying to figure out like what my role is, I can be really quiet. And I think people sometimes read it as like I'm going to say she's a bitch or something like that, you know, even though I'm not really saying much, but that's why it's like, I'm not saying much and I'm trying to figure out my bearings and the role. And I think it can be misread sometimes.
Do you like a sister from another Mista? Because it's like, people like I enjoy kava, right? The root drink, and there's kava bars all over South Florida. And I'll go and sit by myself 90% of the time. I don't not talk to people. I'll say hi to them and stuff, but I'm very introverted. And somebody in the kava bar caught a YouTube link or something of me speaking. And they're like, is that you? Because I will rock a stage, but dude, I'd like to sit by myself. I go dine out by myself, you know, if my lady is not available, you know, at that time or whatnot. I love that because there's so much work that I do on myself during that time. Because again, like you, I'm consistently working to level up consistently, whether it's my morning routine, what I do in my downtime. You know, I give myself some mind porn at night. It's funny, me and Susan are watching all the way back to Nip Tuck. There's a show on way back in the day. And so we're like watching that. It's kind of like our hour that we give ourselves of couch cuddle. And that's, you know, and watch it. Right. But other than that, it's about leveling up. You know, I don't read too much other than I love business parables, you know, and stuff like that. That's kind of like my relaxation stuff. So I'm always on that go. So anything keep you up at night?
Usually excitement.
Okay.
Like
that's a good thing.
Figuring out puzzles. Like I say my first zone for entrepreneurs. So I walk them through 4 zones. The first one is manic imposter zone. And it's like that mania you get when you're on a new trajectory is so, for me, keeps me up at night.
Oh yeah.
Like I'm just like, oh, this idea, that idea. Oh, I could do this. I could do that. Like I get so excited and I don't sleep. So since I've become an entrepreneur, I have slept the worst. And I think a lot of people would think like, oh, it's because you're stressed out. And it's usually because I'm super excited about what's going on. Yeah. And I wish, one of my wishes is like, I sometimes ask people as a conversation starter, if you could have any superpower, what would it be? And one of mine is like that I didn't have to sleep because it's a waste of time.
Or that you could sleep like that, it's funny because Susan, I've timed her before in like 8 seconds. And I'll be like, I don't have problems sleeping, but like you, I'm like, okay, am I good? Am I good? Okay, now I can like shut it down,
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. So what is Dr. Amanda's definition of a life well lived?
To wake up every day feeling aligned, which means feeling good, feeling at peace, feeling fulfilled, doing what I love in the world to make an impact. And, that space of like, there's no worries about money. I'm making such a huge impact that it's flowing in. My impact is growing. I get to help more people in the world. I get to travel and experience the things I want, all along this line of just win-win exchanges. It's like learn, love, travel, teach.
I love that you actually are sticking to your guns, because I think it might have been season 4, episode 4 that you said those exact words. So I love that you're actually sticking to your guns on that. That's beautiful. Time to Shine Today podcast Varsity Squad. We are back, and Doc, you and I will meet up someday. We'll rock a stage or, go to a mastermind or whatnot. And we'll maybe talk about some of these questions for 15, 20 minutes on each one of them. But today, you got 5 seconds with no explanations, and they can all be answered that way, I promise. You ready to level up?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. What's the best leveling up advice Dr. Mann has ever received?
Listen to yourself.
Yes. Share one of your personal habits that contributes to your success.
Daily morning routine.
Beautiful. If you see me walking down the street, you're like, Fergie, man, he looks like he's in his doldrums a little bit. Other than I Am a Money Magnet, what book might you have me to level me up?
Oh, The Big Leap.
Oh, great read. Awesome. What's your most commonly used emoji when you text?
High fives.
High fives. Nicknames growing up?
Maynard.
Oh,
or smiles a lot.
Love it. What is a hidden talent or superpower you have that nobody knows about until now?
Trail running.
Oh, wow. Very cool. Chess, checkers, or Monopoly?
Ooh, checkers.
Right. Headline for your life?
Inspirational ninja master.
Love it. Love it. Any superstitions that you have?
Ooh, boy. I can't think of any.
No, it's fine. Some people don't have them. Just curious on that one. Go-to ice cream flavor.
Anything with peanut butter pretzels and chocolate.
Love it. There's a sandwich called the Inner Power Maynard. Build that sandwich for me. What's on?
Nerding out over everything. Law of attraction. So like books.
No, it has to be a real sandwich. We're gonna
like
eat
actual
this thing.
food.
Yes.
Oh, it's so funny how my brain goes. Okay.
Me too.
I would say avocado, turkey, lettuce wrap. I don't need a lot of bread. Pick tons of pickles, banana peppers, mayo, and something spicy.
Nice. Very good. Favorite charity and or organization you like to give your time or money to?
Anything that's involving helping people educate themselves on how to access their power.
And the last question, we can elaborate on this one a little bit, but what is the best decade of music? 60s, 70s, 80s, or 90s?
You said of music?
Yes.
Oh, I like oldies, like 50s, 60s.
Oh, really? Okay. Very cool. Very
Yeah.
cool. Awesome. So, Doc, how can we find you, my friend?
Go to innerpowerdaily.com. So everything's on innerpowerdaily.com. I've got a free course. I've got my book. That's where all my social media handles are. I'm most active on Instagram. And if they want to listen to my podcast, it's called Inner Power Entrepreneur. So they could just go to Inner Power Entrepreneur and binge listen. We're almost at 300 episodes.
That's awesome, man. You're crushing it with that too. I got her on a listen score by 1 point. So like Dr. Mann and I are neck and neck. We're both the top 2% globally, which if you think about it, it's like 3.2 million like podcasts out there. So we're in the top 60,000 in the world. You think that's a lot, but it's not, because a lot of those are probably old podcasts or just sitting there getting, evergreen downloads. They're not putting out any old, new stuff. So kudos to you, man. I really appreciate and respect you. So we do have a giveaway today, I believe, right? I'm sorry, I usually have it right in front of me. Like a free course, I believe. If you
Yeah.
go to
Yep.
innerpowerdaily.com, and you'll actually have a pop-up, one of those awesome pop-ups. Make sure that you fill out your name, and then at the end, just fill out your name, email, and phone number's optional. And what do they get in that Inner Power 101?
It's actually an incredible, like, power pack course. I walk them through 5 strategies that I do with all of my one-on-one clients.
Okay.
And these are strategies to help them reprogram their mindset and their energy, their state of being, so that they can make easier money in their business and attract easier opportunities. So it's 2 hours of coaching, 3 videos, PDF download workbook, guide them along with the 5 strategies. So it's got scripting and EFT tapping and meditation. And like, it is a killer program that's free, gives them a ton of information, and really sets them up for overcoming fear, imposter syndrome, and doubt. Like the things that entrepreneurs get stuck with unconsciously, that are those invisible hidden problems that they don't even really know exist sometimes, that they can get strategies. I mean, I use this with high power CEOs, high power entrepreneurs, all the way down to startups, and they work across the board. So really great strategies. Innerpower101.com.
I love it. Yeah, let's get over there, squad, and pick that up. And also, I'm going to do a book giveaway. I'm going to buy 5 books on Time to Shine Today's Dime, and the first person that says NFA forever, is it NFA? That's
Ooh, yeah.
NFA forever. I don't care if you put in Pinterest, Instagram, you text it to 561-440-3830, Facebook, anywhere that you're on social or you hear this. Make sure you put in NFA forever, and I will get a copy of I Am a Money Magnet, the top 30 money making mantras to manifest more. And I would like really kind of get the backstory on this quickly, if you don't mind. But what's the backstory on the book?
It's because I went from food stamps to 6 figures, and I've worked with so many people on their money blocks and their money beliefs. And it's what causes huge transformation. I mean, when I've done money stories, things that I teach in this book, they will double their income in a week. Like, it's wild to watch. And so I teach in the book, there are 100 journaling questions to help you break through your unconscious money blocks. And I give a lesson a day. So it's 30 days. You want to treat it like a 30-day reprogram your money mindset type of course. It's a really powerful book.
That's awesome. In squad. So again, NFA forever. If the first 5 that put in there is going to get a free book. And if you can do us one last solid, Dr. Amanda, and leave us with one last knowledge nugget we can take with us, internalize, and take action on.
Yeah. Start every day with one small step that you know to take to get to the next level. You don't need to know A to Z. You just need to know A to B and take action on it. And then let the way appear after you take that step. You'll take a step, the next step will appear. You'll take another step, the next step will appear.
Oh my gosh.
Simplify.
That is awesome that the way does appear as well. We're going to have to do a 2.0 interview on this as well. And squad, I had the best time. I had pages of notes with my good friend, Dr. Amanda. She brought up at the start, how many times we think about money? I mean, as men, we think about sex a lot, but running a very close second is money, period. You're thinking about it. Trust me, you're watching it. How much is my cable bill? Anything is a question about money. And Dr. Amanda can really help you get your questions that you ask yourself very, very much more powerful. Our wealth, she reminded us, is an outer reflection of our inner world. She was someone that was on the basement floor crying, got left, a parent, felt lost, felt sorry for herself. But when she scanned her life history, she found that every single scene of her life, she was the common denominator. She was at fault. She took responsibility, and she was willing to do whatever it takes. Are you willing to do whatever it takes? She wants you to decide, commit, and take NFA action. And like we discussed, like inch by inch, it's a cinch, by the yard it's hard. So just bite off those little pieces. Like Doc said, the way will show itself. She wants you, again, take 100%, maybe 110% radical responsibility and owning all parts of yourself, because you are the co-creator of everything in your life, good and bad. Be conscious and listening with all your senses. That's what a good coach does. She listens and he listens with all their senses. I'd like to say listening with your neck, really leaning in and getting to know. So if you're working with a coach, make sure that they're doing that. They're really picking up on your telltale signs to help you really level up. Doc will be remembered as someone who's a wild heart, centered inspiration to others. She does things for the intention, not the attention. That's the one thing that I really picked up out of here. She wants you to wake up every day feeling aligned and doing what you love. And lastly, I'm going to reiterate that what Doc said is every day take a small step, again, not a big step, a small step to get to the next level, and really observe, stay present, and see where that next step, that weight appears. And that's what my good friend Dr. Amanda does. She loves up her health. She loves up her wealth. She's hungry yet humble. She's stunning and fantastic. And I can't wait to collaborate with her in the future. Absolutely love your guts, Doc. Thank you so much for coming on.
Man, you're good. Thank you.
You're welcome. Chat soon.
Hey, thanks so much for listening to this episode of Time to Shine Today podcast, proudly brought to you by Sutter & Nugent Real Estate Excellence, who can be reached at 561-249-7266 and online at www.sutterandnugent.com. If you're a business owner or professional who would like to be interviewed on Time to Shine Today, please visit timetoshinetoday.com/guest. If you like this episode, please subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you get your podcasts. There's a link in the show notes to our website. Also there, you will see our recommended resources. We hope that you will support our show by supporting them. If you like what you've been listening to, it'd be great if you could just give us a 5-star rating and tell your friends how to subscribe while you're at it. I'm your host, Scott Ferguson, and until next time, let's level up. It's our time to shine.